to Saturday's attacks. Joining me now, Tal Heinrich, the spokesperson for Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Ma'am, I'm grateful for your time. It's late for you at night, although you might be elsewhere now. What came out of the cabinet today in a sense of the disagreement over the extent and reach of any Israeli response?
Thank you for having me on tonight, Richard. You see, the deliberations taking place inside the War Cabinet will remain inside the War Cabinet, and we can speculate and discuss them on air for, various reasons. But Israel will make its own considerations. Our sense of security was very much shattered in Israel on October 7th when Hamas attacked us, an Iranian proxy. Then on October 8th when Hezbollah joined in, and we will not allow this to become the new normal, so to say, with 100 ballistic missiles fired from Iran towards our territory. Of course, yesterday was an unprecedented Iranian attack, the Islamic Republic on full display, firing more than 60 tons of explosives our way, and it was met by an unprecedented response. So,
accepting all of that, accepting it, and now throwing into the mix the US saying, don't retaliate. President Biden telling your Prime Minister, look, do not up the ante. That seems to be the message from Washington.
So as I said, Israel will make its own considerations. We're a sovereign country. But of course, when we calculate our next moves, we also take into account various factors. We consult with partners, with our best friends. We share concerns. We take advice and so forth. But the Prime Minister, he articulated a principle by which we are going to follow. He said, if anyone's trying to hurt us, if anyone's threatening to hurt us, we will hurt them. Your reporter said it right. We are not seeking wars. We have a track record in the region to prove it because we're always seeking peace. But, if someone is out there trying to annihilate us from biblical times to modern times, we will defend ourselves.
Right, but you could end up with it if you don't, pardon the vernacular, but if you don't play your cards right or you overplay your hand or whatever, you could end up, and the rest of it, the fear is that this will escalate into a full-thrown war.
Nobody wants a full-fledged war with Iran. We don't want a full-fledged war with Hezbollah. But that Iran has been hurting us and trying to hurt us and threatening to hurt us even further for a very, very long time. This did not start yesterday or 2 weeks ago or on October 7th. Everywhere you look around the region where you see bloodshed and chaos and terrorism, you see the footprints of Iran.
Is moving into Rafah still part of policy?
Of course. You see, there are 4 operational Hamas battalions in Rafah. We're not going to leave them untouched. And anyone telling us you shouldn't go in there is basically saying you can lose the war, you can sustain another Hamas rule, because if we don't go there, they will rearm, regroup, attack us again, as they vowed to do, and launch another October 7th massacre. And telling us you can survive 16 more years of missiles raining on your communities. After October 7th, we say no more. And you know very well, Richard, that Rafah is in a strategic location. Much of the ammunition is funneled into the Gaza Strip from that border with Egypt throughout the years. We know for a fact that some of our hostages, the stolen people, are there.
So how do you answer? I mean, this point has been pretty much since day one of the conflict. But how do you answer that if you go into Rafah, you will only be entrenching into a younger generation an entire animus against Israel that already exists? I'll concede to you, it already exists. But this will become a hatred, and all you're doing is breeding the next Hamas.
So I would disagree for a few reasons. First, if Hamas stay in power, and that this is what will happen if we don't go into Rafah and break down their their military battalions there, then what kind of education are the children of Gaza will get under their rule? What was the case up until now? And if you look at historical patterns that we saw after the Second World War. For instance, Germany de-radicalized, and this is why we say that the reconstruction of Gaza in the day after Hamas will have to be intertwined with de-radicalization. Otherwise, there's no horizon for a better future between us and our neighbors.
Tal, I'm grateful for you. I think you're in New York, which means that you're not staying up quite as late as I thought if I was speaking to you in Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. I'm grateful for your time, whatever time it is where you are. Thank you very much.